Welcome. Welcome to this Baja 4 collaborative worship service. My name is Celeste Rogers, and I'm one of the worship associates at the Unitarian Universalist Church of Tucson. Whoever you are, wherever you are, and whenever you are joining us, you are welcome to bring your whole self here, now. We are the Baja 4, representing Unitarian Universalists across southeastern Arizona. As Unitarian Universalists, we love beyond belief and find inspiration from a wide array of spiritual, religious, and secular sources. We come together as a Baja 4 because we are stronger together. We represent Borderlands Unitarian Universalists in Amado, Sky Island Unitarian Universalist Church in Sierra Vista, Mountain Vista Unitarian Universalist Congregation in northwestern Tucson, and the Unitarian Universalist Church of Tucson on the east side. We take inspiration from the landscape around us. We find in our desert stories of resilience and change, beauty and interconnection, death and life. We believe that it is important as we begin worship each week to acknowledge that we live and meet on stolen land. This is the ancestral or tribal land of the Chiricahua Apache, the Pasquayaqui, the O'odham, and the Opata people, who live here still. We know that this land has been subject to a complicated history of colonialization, a process that we are a part of and that affects us still. We acknowledge that we, alongside our indigenous neighbors, have a responsibility to be in right relationship with each other and the land. We are blessed with a space and opportunity to strive to live out our common principles, to bring justice, equity, and compassion into our daily lives, to resist all that threatens the earth and her people, and to live out our dream of a world community of peace, liberty, and justice for all. Let these thoughts carry us forth as we journey and worship together. Blessed be.
Our chalice lighting words are from Maya Angelou, from a piece called Alone. Lying, thinking last night how to find my soul a home where water is not thirsty and bread loaf is not stone. I came up with one thing, and I don't believe I'm wrong, that nobody, but nobody can make it out here alone. Alone. All alone. Nobody, but nobody can make it here alone. Now, if you listen closely, I'll tell you what I know. Storm clouds are gathering. The wind is going to blow. The race of man is suffering. And I can hear the moan, 'cause nobody, but nobody, can make it here alone. Alone. All alone. Nobody, but nobody, can make it out here alone.
For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. Oh, for each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. Oh, for each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. We are our grandmother's prayer. Spirit of God. We are mothers of courage, fathers of time, daughters of dust, and the sons of great visions. We're sisters of mercy, brothers of love, lovers of life, and the builders of nations. We're seekers of truth, keepers of faith, makers of peace, and the wisdom of ages. We are our grandmother's prayers. We are our grandfather's dreamings, and we are the breath of our ancestors. We are the Spirit of God. We are mothers of courage, fathers of time, daughters of dust, and the sons of great visions. We're sisters of mercy, brothers of love, lovers of life, and the builders of nations. We're seekers of truth and keepers of faith. We are makers of peace and the wisdom of ages. We are our grandmother's prayers. We are our grandfather's dreamings, and we are the breath of our ancestors. We are the Spirit of God. We are our grandmother's prayers, and we are our grandfather's dreamings. We are the breath of our ancestors. We are the Spirit of God. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. We are one.
Hi friends, my name is Jamila Omar, and I am the Director of Lifespan Faith Development at the UU Church of Tucson, and this is Amira. She's going to help me tell you a story today. So, Amira, do you recognize this person?
Superman.
That is Superman, isn't it? Did you know that Superman was a UU like us? You did know that? Now, he wasn't a Superman when he was like this. Not that Superman, not that Superman. Not even this Superman. It was this one. This Superman was solidly, we might even say devoutly, UU. You might know this man. He's Christopher Reeve. He was an American actor, writer, and director, and he was best known for playing Superman in the movies in the 1970s and 80s.
And he had an accident. He fell off a horse, but even if he had a helmet, he still got really hurt.
That's right, Amira. He fell off a horse. And after he was done playing Superman, he fell off a horse and he had a helmet on, but he still got really hurt. And that accident damaged his spinal cord, which means that he wasn't able to use his arms and legs, and he couldn't even breathe on his own for the whole rest of his life. Until his death, he used a wheelchair and a ventilator. And after his accident, he became an advocate for disability rights, a philanthropist, and a Unitarian Universalist.
By the way, do you like my hair?
Your hair is beautiful. Thank you for sharing with us. After his accident, he was profoundly changed on the inside because of it. He said, "Gradually, I have come to believe that spirituality is found in the way that we live our daily lives. It means spending time thinking about others." So Christopher Reeve eventually died from complications from his accident. He taught us, though, about what can be whole when things get broken. He said people helped him formulate the idea that he has the opportunity to make sense of his accident by what he did afterwards. After his accident, he worked tirelessly to change the perceptions of people living with paralysis, including advocating in Congress and establishing a foundation that long outlived him. So what special powers did Christopher have?
I don't know.
Well, he had two things, I think. He had a deep belief in the value of every individual that guided his actions, and he had a faith that he personally could make a difference. We believe that each and every person is important. What does it feel like when you feel important?
Getting more attention?
Getting more attention feels important. What are some things that you do to show other people that they are important?
Give them a hug?
Give them a hug. Anything else you do?
No, I don't know. I don't remember all the things I do.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember.
One of the things I was thinking about in our family that we do is that we stay home, that we're staying home, and so we're not getting other people sick. I was also thinking about our feelings chart and sharing how we feel during the day, and our planting our plants that are still growing. Do you believe it? I don't believe our plants are growing. In his book, Christopher Reeve wrote, "When the first Superman movie came out, I gave dozens of interviews to promote it. The most frequent question was, what is a hero? My answer was that a hero is someone who commits a courageous action without considering the consequences. Now my definition is completely different. I think a hero is an ordinary individual who finds the strength to persevere and endure in spite of overwhelming obstacles." He also said, "They are the real heroes. They are the real heroes, and so are the families and friends who have stood by them, and so are you."
I always wanted a red cape on my back. I always wanted to be the best in my pack. I always wanted to be known to be good, to be the hero of my own hood. If I could just fly, I could save everyone. Stop all the wars so nobody's gotta run. All the killing, all the crimes, pain and suffering. It's getting tougher to be buffered from it all. Are we gonna make it through? Is he gonna fly back in? 'Cause if he don't come right now, I don't think good will win. Time is running out. Do we wanna wait for him? Or is it our time now to bring the good back in? We don't have to leap tall buildings in a single bound. There's a lot of good that we can do. Standing on the ground. We don't need a jetpack suit to take us to the clouds. It's up to me and you, right here, right now. Superhero, na 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 na. Superhero, whoa, 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 whoa. Superhero, na 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 na. Superhero, whoa, 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 whoa. The world is full of so much pain, and though I can't fly, I can do my little part here before I die, yeah. I may not win the Nobel Prize, but at least I can try to be a little more kind, spend a little more time in my changing life, yeah. Like giving a hug when somebody is down, feeding a soul when there's nobody around. Small things that can change the sound and the vibe of the spirit that can change a town. Started small, now it's touched a crowd. The crowd is growing, now the word is out that if we all do our parts, we can touch the clouds. Without a cape and a mask, we can touch the clouds. Yep. We don't have to leap tall buildings in a single bound. There's a lot of good that we can do. Standing on the ground. We don't need a jetpack suit to take us to the clouds. It's up to me and you, right here, right now. Superhero, na 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 na. Superhero, whoa, 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 whoa. Superhero, na 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 na. Superhero. those things that make a difference. And all the power's locked within us. All we gotta do is find the key and turn the latch and set it free, yeah. We don't need to be fast and strong, cause a kind word can go a long way. Help someone whose faith is gone to get back up and carry on. Maybe it's too hard to understand, think it's too much for us to handle, but I promise you that you can, cause you don't need to be a Superman.
We don't have to leap tall buildings in a single bound. There's a lot of good that we can do standing on the ground. We don't need a jetpack suit to take us to the clouds. It's up to me and you right here, right now.
You're a superhero, feeding the soul when there's nobody around it. Small superhero, and the vibe of the spirit that can change a town. Superhero, everybody's going out, the word is out that if we all do our parts, we can catch the cloud. Without a cape and a mask, we can touch the clouds. Yep.
Let us meditate on this excerpt of Braiding Sweetgrass by Robin Wall Kimmerer. She writes, "Action on behalf of life transforms. Because the relationship between self and the world is reciprocal, it is not a question of first getting enlightened or saved and then acting. As we work to heal the earth heals us." As we work to heal the earth heals us. Continue to meditate on this as we now listen to our reflective song by Iris Dement, titled My Life.
For nothing when I look at this world, I feel so small, and my life, it's only a season, a passing September that no one will recall. Joy to my mother, and I made my lover smile, and I can give comfort to my friends when they're hurting, and I can make it seem better for a while. Half the way traveled, and still I have not found my way out of this life. And my life, it's tangled in wishes and so many things that just never turned out right. Joy to my mother, and I made my lover smile, and I can give
The theme for our July services is embracing diversity in our congregations and in society as a whole. Our speaker today, the Reverend Yadini Hailu, comes to us from Tulsa, Oklahoma. Reverend Yadini is a community minister of Black Earth, a Black-centered spiritual wellness project by and for Black, Indigenous, and people of color young adults within and adjacent to Unitarian Universalism. She is currently serving as the parental leave minister at the UU Church at Washington Crossing in New Jersey. Reverend Yadini has served Hope Unitarian Church and All Souls Unitarian Church in Tulsa and was ordained by all 3 UU churches of Tulsa, including Church of the Restoration in 2019. She says her ministry is to be an oracle for ease, liberation, and healing, the pathways to wholeness, to life. Reverend Yadini identifies as bicultural, Ethiopian American, cis, Black, and a woman. These identities, as well as the privileges she moves through the world with, shape her perspective and insight on a theology rooted in healing and wholeness.
In the 8th grade, I learned what the word emulate meant. Our English class assignment was to emulate or embody a poet by dressing like them and sharing about their life and one of their poems to our class. I was so nervous. It felt like an early Halloween anxiety attack. Do I go with one of the characters I know and just act like it's not weird that they're white and I'm Black? Since I was raised on Midwest media, I didn't know many Black main characters, and my immigrant parents had not taken race into account for helping the media I watched to aid in forming a robust sense of identity for myself. But back to the assignment. Maybe I pick one of the 5 women poets I know, who are still white but women, like me. Do I make it weird by mentioning we have different skin tones, or is that less weird? I didn't want people to think I didn't know I was not white, but I literally didn't know any other options. I was full of preteen angst, and needless to say, I wasn't a fan of Halloween or this assignment. So, for the project, I waited until the midnight hour, the night before the due date, and I remembered the one Black and woman poet I already knew. Like a mad scientist, Eureka struck. Maya Angelou. I had only read 1 or 2 of her poems up to that point, but I remembered they met me where I was. I found her poem Phenomenal Woman and felt both terrified and like weeping when I read it, so I printed it off and with much relief went to bed. In the morning, I put on plastic pearls because I thought Maya's classy. And I felt stumped for the outfit. Remember, not a lot of Halloween practice. Well, I reasoned, she seems pretty serious about the business of self-love and self-esteem, so I put on business casual. It's a bit sad that I hadn't been introduced to Nikki Giovanni, Audre Lorde, or Alice Walker, and it seems neither had the other Black girl in class who came as a better dressed Maya Angelou. But it's also a loss for every other student of color or white that were denied the lyrics of Nikki, the depth of Audre, or the storytelling of Alice. We all missed something from our own humanity in my whitewashed English class. I have a confession. It was up to 13, and that assignment, that I genuinely believed only superhumans made a difference. Gods among mere mortals could shape a world towards justice, and the rest of us, at best, were just getting in the way. Characteristics of a saving hero are as follows. Infallibility, that means they're always right. It was a short list, but that was the main difference between me and them. They always knew what to do, and they never made mistakes. I was swimming in them, and very confused. And so with my kid logic, I deduced from history and church and books that there was one shortcut to sainthood, and I was going to do it. I would be a martyr. Dying tragically and for a cause was realistically my only chance at having a legacy. And so, as a child, I daydreamed about my public, courageous, sacrificial, final act of love often. It's a bit gruesome, but I still remember one of my classics. I'll set the scene, trigger warning, this is a dramatic retelling of a imagined martyrdom. There I would be, as an adult, hanging with some of the kids at my combo orphanage in school with free tuition and family-style housing, and a person with misplaced frustration would barge in with a gun. Then a tussle would ensue, and end when I laid my life on the line for the children under my care. And I would die. This bummer daydream used to give me hope. Hope I could eventually do something that mattered. I planned nonprofits at 7 and power redistribution models at 12, but in my subconscious, those wouldn't or couldn't measure up to a good old-fashioned blood sacrifice. I was simply too human, and sainthood was my only chance at helping, of making a change. And frankly, since I wasn't Beyonce or Serena Williams, it also looked like my best bet at having a life that mattered. That is until I was told to emulate, to become a poet in the 8th grade. Instead of glorifying a hero on a pedestal, making them untouchable and unattainable, I was asked to bring them down, fully human, and hang out. Learn from them, practice what they did, and tend to the seeds that they cared for in themselves, which grew to greatness in a human frame. A couple years later, I read ancestor sister friend Maya Angelou's autobiographies, all 5 of them. While kicking back with her, I learned a lot from that glorious woman. When people show who they are, believe them. Be mindful of how you show up in a space, because people will remember, and rock it to the bone. Know that you are phenomenal in every sense of the word. I also learned what a woman dedicated to disrobing shame can achieve in love. Love of self, love of God, love of community. I read that the pursuit of curiosity and conviction were a promise of uncertainty and wild adventure. And I distinctly remember putting the book down and thinking to myself, she's done all this and got to live? She's super old, not super dead. This divorced this false equation that service must result in sacrifice. We can serve love until we're 2 days old, 2 years old, or 102 years old. I talk about centering life. Well, that is centering love. That is what touches lives, serving love, not this hyper-focus on killing our humanity and or our lust for sacrifice. Rosa Parks is well known for keeping her seat in the segregated buses, which was a strategic impetus for the women-organized, nearly 13-month-long, successful Montgomery bus boycott, resulting in the city of Montgomery being forced to desegregate their buses, add more stops in black neighborhoods, and hire black bus drivers, and third, to acknowledge at least in a little bit more of their humanity of their neighbors. For her organizing and participation in activism then and with the NAACP and Black Power movements for decades, Rosa Parks said, quote, "I want to be remembered as someone who wanted to be free so others could be free. I want to be remembered as someone who wanted to be free so others could be free." She had a vision, and she did what she could to shape her community towards that vision. Her legacy wasn't sacrifice. It was fierce vision, clear determination to the cause, come what may. She was committed to doing her part in the ecosystem of love and liberation, not in being separated as special and worshipped. Unfortunately, white supremacist, capitalist, patriarchal filters over our history tend to isolate individuals from the team and divinize humans. So from the bus boycott, you probably first think of King, who was brought in after as a spokesperson, or minimally Rosa Parks. But do you know about the Women's Political Council of Montgomery, with over 200 professional black women members, or of their president at the time, Joanne Robinson? Probably not. Because unlike what the system of patriarchy we are in wants to present and rewrite, history is made, has been made, and is only made by curious and engaged collaborators, not untouchable individuals. Also, Parks Parks's quote models that having a vision charged with embodied understanding of our interconnectivity. She didn't put others before herself. That's dangerous. She put her vision before comfort. That is admirable. That is emulatable. That is what I want to lift up from her life and practice in my own. For us all to be free, we're going to have to get uncomfortable and break out of the paradigm that we're co-creating. She served for all of us, and she didn't leave herself behind. That's holistic love. Maya modeled that for me too. She invited me to be as big and grand as I am and serve love with all my life. And that means bringing me along too. When we aspire to divinize men, women, gender not conforming persons, any leader, including ourselves, making them untouchable, we remove the joy of growth and the power of collaboration and the honor and pleasure of service and the magic of emotions and intuition and being a student. And that sucks. It isn't real. What is real is that we are each human, inherently delightful and stuffed with potential. We are imperfect and whole. We are dehumanized when pushed up to perfection or down to inferiority. We are human in the space between, where magic and mess and creativity happens. It's where love lives and transformation is born. Today we're going to practice together, liberating our language and our mindset. We're going to fine-tune our posture of gratitude and reverence for the heroes that we celebrate. It comes with 2 points. The first, repeat after me. Perfection isn't human. Messing up, imagining, collaborating, and recreating is. Perfection isn't human. Messing up, imagining, collaborating, and recreating is. That is the good kind of sticky. It's a multiplicity of humility and responsibility and confidence when accepted and leaned into, taking the shape of a beautiful, justice-oriented vessel of good and God in the world. The second is shorter and easier to repeat. Sacrifice isn't ideal. Service is. Sacrifice isn't ideal. Service is. That's right. We as a culture have falsely equated sacrifice with service. In reality, sacrifice isn't the point. The love and commitment to vision is. When we are casting a vision of who we wish to be, to create change, let's let go of superlatives like always or never or forever and perfectionism, and instead reach for I am delightfully human and urgently needed. May we each feel the flame of our vision of love warming our hearts and rooted in service. May it be so.
Step by step, the longest march can be won, can be won. Many stones can form an arch, singly none, singly none. And by union, what we will can be accomplished still. Drops of water turn a mill, singly none, singly none. Step by step, the longest march can be won, can be won. Many stones can form an arch, singly none, singly none. And by union, what we will can be accomplished still. Drops of water turn a mill, singly none, singly none.
Audre Lorde was a self-described black, lesbian, mother, warrior, poet who dedicated her life and her work to confronting and addressing injustices of racism, sexism, classism, capitalism, heterosexism, and homophobia. In 1979, she, along with more than 800 women from all over the world, attended a conference on feminist theory entitled The Second Sex, 30 years later, sponsored by the New York Institute for the Humanities, which celebrated the 30th anniversary of the publishing of Simone de Beauvoir's book, The Second Sex. While there, she delivered what has become her best-known speech: "The master's tools will never dismantle the master's house." We will close with some of her words. "When I dare to be powerful, to use my strength in the service of my vision, then it becomes less and less important whether I am afraid." As we extinguish our chalice, these words by Reverend Maureen Killoran. This is the message of our faith: to act with passion in the face of injustice, to love with courage in the midst of life's pain. This is the meaning of our chalice flame. May it empower our hearts until we are together again.